power of what jazz is. It is the stuff of conversation. It has continued to articulate who we are as people, even if we don't regularly listen to it. And I think the same is about religion. And the more that we can carefully think about it, and the way that we can engage each other in values-based conversation, the better we'll all be. My family was a conservative Jewish household. I had a bar mitzvah when I was 13, and it was a fairly dismal experience for me. And so there was a little bit of a dark ages of affiliation or association for me. I chose to go to New Orleans to go to school because I was enamored by the American tradition of jazz, and I wanted to learn more about it and to get to a new place in the country, a new culture to explore, freelancing on the saxophone and really imbibing much of the culture that was both on the street and in clubs and things too. Certainly after World War II and otherwise, as I think Miles Davis was responding to a lot of crisis in our consciousness and in our spiritual situation, that this represented something that goes beyond. When I did take a junior year abroad, and this was right after communism fell in Eastern Europe, and I had the opportunity to study in Poland. I went to the death camps. I went to Auschwitz and Birkenau by myself in the early mornings when there was nobody there. One of the barracks that on the wall, from the floor to the ceiling, are pictures of Jewish life. It's not what you would imagine black and white photographs of the Shoah or the Holocaust. It's in fact life that was taken in the 20s and the 30s, this robust Jewish life of men and women socializing together, of clubs and experiences and synagogues. And I remember looking at those pictures and thinking I had had really none of those experiences. And I was this close to sort of saying, you know what, Judaism was fine, but not my thing. As much as I thought that I could separate myself from my Jewish identity, the world wouldn't let me, and sort of the thoughts that I was thinking wouldn't let me. So I decided, rather than to feeling empty about things or being asked questions that I couldn't answer, I really decided consciously to exert myself fully into learning about questions of Jewish culture, identity, and tradition. I wanted to be an example for people who, like me, may have been sort of shuffling through life, not truly confident about what Jewish identity meant, what Jewish practice meant, maybe were resentful to a degree based on their own background, and I wanted to be one who they could rely on to think about that. Incredible musicians like what we have tonight really work themselves out in the music in the time. So it was really bringing your best self to the music. The responsibility of a religious leader is to get involved in many aspects of the community far beyond the synagogue or the community there. Building bridges, and it goes back to thinking about Poland and recognizing what would it have been like, I was imagining, had people had worthy and deep relationships with neighbors. What kind of courage would people have had to stop the thud of history from occurring? I'm gonna get me a devil woman. Working with KUT has really become a wonderful bridge to bring conversations about sacred purpose, about meaning, about experiences of life into a setting where people can appreciate and understand jazz as well and realize the importance and vitality that jazz has as a traditional, authentic American art form. Hopefully it facilitates conversation and helps to break down suspicion, and hopefully that we recognize that we're all in this together. And may we continue to have good conversations and explore each other's questions without judgment and with patience.